Pedro Cruz, Executive Director of the Office of Youth Engagement and Advancement. Thank you for coming to BNN today.
No, thank you. I'm really excited to be here, and I appreciate you just sharing the space with me and allowing me to come and share the work.
Absolutely. So let's start with just an overall of the Office of Youth Engagement and Advancement. Why is it important to have, for the city to have an office like this, like dedicated to engaging with youth, and what benefits does it bring to the city?
Yeah, great question. So we focus on the 14 to 25-year-old population. I think one of the main things that I want to highlight too is that youth work a lot of the times is really looked at from that 14 to 18-year-old population. So I think one of the important things that we're doing is that we've expanded it to 25, not just for scientific reasons, but we know that young people still need support after high school and when they get into the workforce or further education. And I think what makes it important is that we're the ones thinking about young people 24/7, Monday through Friday in City Hall, and before this office, there's other offices that do youth initiatives, but youth are not an initiative in our office, they're the mission of our office. So our team really just focuses on the youth population Monday through Sunday, 24 hours a day, and we do that by just supporting the organization, supporting the adults in the field, and supporting the young people, which we could talk about more in a second in terms of our pillars of support. But yeah, it's important, but it's just important to that. And even, I think I would even highlight that before our office, right, if you're a youth organization or if you're an adult in the field or a young person and you want to get services in City Hall, get connected with someone in City Hall, who do you go to, right? And we know that City Hall is scary enough to navigate as an adult, right? What floor, what office, when, right? It's scary enough. That fear is amplified for a young person. So we want to be that. We want to be the City Hall for young people. We want to be the connector. We want to be the person that's connecting them to resources, whether it's within City Hall or whether it's across the city in their neighborhoods. We want to be the go-to people for young people when it comes to adults in the field, when it comes to people in City Hall, when it comes to young people themselves. We want to be the go-to office.
And it's so important to let young kids know that they have the option to explore these things, right? Like
100%.
When I was 14 to 25, I had no idea how to navigate a government building or even know how to engage with somebody who I thought, works for the government. So it's really interesting to hear that that's an initiative, not just an initiative, but a mission, right? I love that.
100%.
So can you talk a little bit about the strategies of OYEA to uplift support through your mission?
Yeah, one thing I would start before I get into the 3 pillars, just to add to the point that you just made, our goal again is that whether you come to us and you're like, hey, I'm looking for these services within City Hall, or you come to us and, hey, I want to get connected to a youth program in my community. We want to be able to connect you regardless, whether it's just in City Hall or whether it's in your community. Again, I just want to highlight that our goal is to really be able to connect them to whatever opportunities and resources are available, whether at City Hall or across the city in general. And we do that through our 3 pillars of support, which is what has been kind of our motto these past 2 years as we build the office. And it's the first layer is youth organizations and spaces created for young people. So whether that's schools, whether that's libraries, whether that's a basketball court, whether that's a community center, whether that's a youth program, it's just spaces created with the intentions of hosting young people in any way, shape, or form. The second level is youth workers or youth-facing individuals, adults that work in those spaces and build relationships with young people. And then the third level is young people themselves. So all the work that we do is to support those 3 levels. Again, the spaces created for young people, the adults that work in those spaces, and then young people themselves. So it's really our wraparound model of how we support young people. So it's supporting the young people, but also supporting the people that are supporting them and supporting the spaces that are created for them.
Absolutely, and giving those supports, giving those tools helps those kids become representatives and liaisons for their own communities.
100%.
That's how they can make a start and a change in their own spaces. So there's a lot going on all year long with the Office of Youth Engagement and Advancement. from, the upcoming Mayor's Youth Summit to things like Youth Lead the Change and Youth Speaks Boston. Could you just sort of go through all of the exciting things that's happening and what you're most excited about? Yeah,
honestly, the best thing that I would encourage people is, one, tap in with us. We always have something going on. Honestly, all year round, there's not a slow season. It's always just priorities kind of change in terms of programming and events and initiatives, but we always have something going on. And just to run through, I think the exciting ones that are for young people, is, we oversee the Mayor's Youth Council, which is a council of high school students that represent the much larger population. They get paid to be on this program, so it's a job. They're with us 4 to 5 days a week from October all the way till June. And that's the first Mayor's Youth Council in the nation, and we're going on 30 years of that. Youth Lead the Change is the first youth participatory budgeting program in the nation, and we're going on 10 years of that. And those are two initiatives you can engage with as a young person throughout the year, whether it's applying to be on the Mayor's Youth Council for next year's consideration, or whether it's being part of the participatory budgeting process where you decide what to do with $1 million of the mayor's money every year. But aside from that, two things that I would love to highlight that it's exciting for young people is You Speak Boston, which is a survey that we launched, first of its kind in the history of Boston, and it's different because we're focusing on the 14 to 25-year-old population, on what they need when they're not in school and when they're not at work. That's really what we're targeting. So when they're not in school, when they're not at work, what is it that they need? And we're hoping that these results influence the investments coming out of City Hall these next few years. And then the other one is Boston After Dark. We launched that last year, and it was a series of Friday events. We did 18 events across the whole summer. Every Friday we had an event in a different neighborhood. We served over 1,000 young people through that initiative, and it was fun. And again, our goal is to continue finding ways that we can incorporate youth voices and decision making in City Hall, whether it's you being part of the feedback session and helping us design the next Mayor's Youth Summit, or whether it's you letting us know how to spend $1 million, or whether it's you coming and networking with other young people at a Boston After Dark event, during the summer. But yeah, it's just a lot of exciting stuff happening, and I think it's just one of those that we continuously want people to always go to our website and see what's next.
Yeah, and personally, I was looking into a little bit of Youth After Dark. What does that night entail?
Yeah, so what we did was, the interesting part about that it was a response to what happened in South Bay 2 summers ago. Sorry, if you remember, 200 young people mobilized in South Bay. And it just created issues with management there, and just an unsafe situation at that moment. So we responded the next year by creating this initiative. And what it was from the first Friday when school ended to the last Friday before school started, we did an event from 6 to 9 every Friday, because we noticed that a lot of these youth were already engaged in programming. It's just they didn't have anything to do after program hours. So we created these events for them to have something to do 6 to 9. And it was different. It was everything from dance parties. It was from paint nights in East Boston. It was basketball tournaments at the YMCA. It was movie nights. It was all different kind of events, man. There was even like a water balloon situation going on, and and pool parties. It was just all kind of events. Each event was literally different, and it involved food, it involved DJ, there was free merch, food trucks at some of them. So it was cool. Honestly, it was a different event every Friday in a different neighborhood, and it just gave young people options of where to go.
Well, that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So I want to go back just for a second to
Please.
Youth Speaks Boston. Could you tell us about what that survey looks like, how you get it around, and who you're targeting specifically?
Yeah, so what makes You Speak Boston so special is that we collaborated with Children's Hospital, Northeastern's Research Lab, the Change Lab, and Boston Public Health Commission. And it's the first time that all 4 of us as entities kind of work together. And they all have community assessments as well. And we all designed it in a way that it was like, who's asking what questions? How are you targeting it? Where are you going to bring it? Is it going to hit my demographic? So it was very intentional. And the special part I want to highlight about it, it's demographic heavy. But the reason we do that is because once we publish the results, they're going to be public. We want anybody to be able to go on there and filter these results so that they make sense to you. So if someone goes on there, and they're asking in terms of, I want to know what 14, 18-year-olds in Dorchester that identify as African American and part of the LGBTQ community need, they'll be able to produce that report and serve the demographics they serve. And then we're getting it out there now through just a lot of tabling. We find it, that's the best way to really do it, is the grassroots, and go out there. We're going to schools, we're going to community organizations, events, and just tabling and having young people engage. You can go to the website. If you follow us online, we share it on Instagram all the time too. So again, we just try to make it as accessible as possible.
So your office just released the 2024 Impact Report. Can you tell us about the findings, some of the achievements, and what surprised you?
Yeah, honestly, and I hope this doesn't come off wrong, there wasn't any surprises. It was more so that I was able to put numbers to what we already knew. We knew these young people wanted to get engaged. We knew these young people wanted spaces. We knew these young people wanted programs and initiatives that they can get involved in. So we were just more so of really happy with the results. You know, the Boston After Dark, like I said, we did 18 events across the city, across 11 weeks, you know, and we covered we served over 1,000 young people across all these events. And you know, the Youth Lead the Change, we had thousands of votes, you know, from young people, and hundreds of ideas that were submitted. So for me, it was more of a proud moment to really see what we're building and really be the trendsetter when it really comes to the question of, what does youth work look like in City Hall? What does it look like when local government gets involved in youth work? And I think for me, that's been the most proudest moment, is being able to, not a specific initiative, but it as a whole, the office as a whole, just really be able to build it, engage. You know, we have a partners network, which is our way of engaging with the adults, right? We want to break down the silos that we know exist in youth work. A lot of us all serve the same young people. They go to BPS, then they'll go to community center to play basketball, then they go to a community org for an event. We all serve the same young people, but we don't talk to each other. So we launched a partner network, which is our way of breaking down those silos, and we have over 1,100 adults from across 400 youth serving organizations. So that's been a proud moment in itself too, to really build that ecosystem and that community. And we get an average of 70 to 80 people per meeting every time we set up a meeting. So it's almost like we've been able to build this ecosystem and kind of own it and be that. So for me, the proudest moment is that. And also, aside from the Impact Report, the proudest moment for me is all the community partners that have come to us and literally thanked us for the work that we've done, and just really share with us how much they needed us and how much their work has been impacted in a positive way since we've been in the picture too. So for me, more than the numbers we're showcasing is the relationships we build that I'm really proud of, and the community that we've been able to build, because now I feel like we're serving the same young people but together, you know, and it's no more doing it in silos, but now we're creating an army of adults that are out there really trying to impact the next generation. And I think for me, that's been the biggest win. So
what are your hopes for the future of OYEA?
Yeah, honestly, man, my hopes is that every major city in the U.S. has an OYEA. My hope is that we're starting something that can be duplicated across this nation. You know, I think, you know, I've been meeting with a lot of cities already, and they've been impressed with the work that we're doing. There's youth serving departments and offices, but from what I've been able to find, no one's doing it the way we're doing it, and really to the level that we're doing it, and especially in the last 2 years, like we've been able to cover so much ground in 2 years and build so much. My hope is that we start that trend. We start that trend in local government, and we get every major city to start thinking about their young people the way that we are. And then within this city, my goal is that we become the go-to people for adults, for organizations, for families, for anything that has to do with young people. I want young people to know that if you're looking for a job and you don't have resources or connected, you can walk into my office and connect with the Youth Line, which is another of our programs, which is our program, our resource hub, where we're connecting people to resources. And I want them to know that we're there. You know, if you're an adult working with young people and you need a professional development opportunity that you just can't find and you want somebody to fund it, I want you to come to us. You know, if you want, if you're a program looking to where you bring your 30 kids on a Saturday during February vacation, I want you to come to the summit. So it's really just, I want us to become the go-to people when it comes. And if you're a parent and you're trying to see what, to get your kid to do something during April vacation so they're not home, we want you to use our community calendar on our website to see all the events that are happening across the city. So again, we want to just really be the go-to people when it comes to youth, whether it's resources and opportunities or whether it's to do the work.
Well, thank you so much. So can you just let our viewers know where they can learn more about the Office of Youth Engagement and Advancement.
Yeah, so in short, we like to go by OYEA, OYEA. That's the best way to remember us, best acronym in the city. But yeah, you can find us at boston.gov/OYEA. On Instagram, you can find us at OYEA Boston. And just connecting with us, honestly, just get with us on the website, hit us up, contact our team, and we'll love to connect you. And if there's any questions, comments, concerns, any resources, anything that they're looking for, we're here to do the work.
Well, thank you so much, Pedro, for joining me today.
No, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and I really appreciate the space.